Good afternoon, everyone. This is Juju, and today I'm back with something new. Today we are on our third day of the countdown to Pokemon Sun and Moon. Today's video is going to be ranking the 7 generations of starters. Um, Basically, we're going to rank them mostly by their design. Um, yeah, for the most part, by their design, since we don't know too much information. Well, we do. Well, we can't really rate the Alolan starters in all fairness as of yet because we haven't played with them. So it's mainly going to be by design for the most part, and maybe some underlying things like for the mons that I do have experience with, and we do know like the stats and the abilities. Those may come into play here and there, but for the most part, it's just going to be by design. This is my personal opinion. If you differ, feel free to leave your thoughts or your rankings down in the description. With that being said, also, I use a lot of art in this video. For the most part, I have like the artist's name near their art, so they have credit. You can check them out and the rest of their work. This front page is done by Quaz, maybe, possibly. I think he's over at deviantart.com, so check him out. This is a really cool piece, actually. Really cool collage he put together here, so that's awesome. But with that being said, let's get down to number 7. Okay. Number 7 is going to be the Gen 2 starters, the Johto starters. I don't really feel like this is debatable at all. Their design's just horrible. They're mostly irrelevant. Besides for Alligator, Meganium's basically like the consensus worst starter. But yeah, I mean, I really like Chikorita and Bailey, oddly enough, but Meganium I'm not interested at all. Yeah, I mean, their design's just so plain, like Meganium and Typhlosion. I mean, their design's just really kind of bland and plain. So I mean, it is what it is. For Alligator's the best of the 3, which his design's pretty bland and plain too. But yeah, so these had to be number 7. They're the least relevant. I mean, competitive wise, and their designs are just kind of mundane, to say the least, which is crazy because I mean, they had a lot of potential. I don't know, with these mons, like, they can always get megas and then their design just be like completely redone and look way better than they are. But I mean, for the most part, they're just kind of bland, so that's why they're in number 7. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to number 6 on the countdown. Number 6 is going to be the Unova region starters. These starters I hated these. Like, to be honest, I didn't pick up Black and White. Like, Black and White, before Black and White came out, the starters had leaked, and I was kind of in denial because I absolutely hated the design. But when they were confirmed, I didn't. I actually didn't pick up Black and White when it first came out. I actually didn't pick up Black and White. The only reason I picked up Black and White was because there was a Darkrai distribution event. In case you guys don't know, it used to be a lot harder to actually get legendaries. Now they just give them away left and right, but it used to be a lot harder to get legendaries. And they actually weren't giving away. They were only giving it away for Black and White. So at that point, only at that point, did I decide to pick up Black and White. But these starters are just like, so I had the worst experience with these. I guess they just completely turned me off. Competitively, they're pretty good. Well, I mean, Samurot's kind of like, I guess he's PU. Like, I never hear of a competitive Samurott. Embor actually drafted this season. I believe he's RU. And then, of course, Superior is OU because of Contrary. But the design's it's not for me. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, the only reason they weren't behind seventh, like if the only reason they weren't number 7 instead of number 6 was because their designs are a little bit more complex uh, than Johto's starters designs. But I mean, they're still trash. Like they're a little bit more complex, but they're still dumpster fire. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to number 5. Number 5 is actually going to may surprise some people. It's going to be the Kalos starters. They are the number 5 on my list. Of course, Greninja is awesome or whatever, and the designs really aren't that bad. But I just couldn't bring myself to rank them any higher than number 5. Of course, Greninja gets protein and all those broken abilities, and then we have Ash Greninja and all that good stuff. And I'm actually a fan of Delphox's and Chestnut's design as well, but I just feel like the other gens did it better, to be honest. Like overall, I mean, yeah, I mean they're okay. Like a lot of people don't like Delphox's design. I'm okay with it. Chestnut's design's pretty cool in my opinion. And then Greninja's, I mean, it's okay, but I just couldn't find myself to put them any higher than number 5. So yeah, competitively they're pretty good. Of course, I mean Greninja's banned. Well, he's not banned, but he's in Ubers. Delphox, I think, is RU, and then Chestnut's UU. So nice to meet you. But competitively, they're pretty good, but design-wise, they aren't the best. So that is why we have them at number 5. With that, let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Number 4, surprise. Hello, change. Are we gonna do this again? Don't tell me we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this again apparently. Try one more time. Oh, okay, it changed this time. Cool. Number 4 is actually going to be the Alolan starters, Gen 7. Now, I would have to say Decidueye's design is top 3 of all the starters. But and then Incineroar's design is pretty awesome too, but then I kind of feel like Primarina's design just kind of falls short, like kind of brings the overall average down. Of course we don't, well we do. I mean a lot of people do know the stats and so on and so forth, but I haven't experienced them personally, so I can't really speak much on that. But yeah, like I said, Decidueye's design, I really like Decidueye. Of course, he's probably the best looking out of the 3. And then, but Incineroar's design's pretty sweet too. But I just couldn't put them any higher than 4. Primarina kind of lowered it a little bit for me to average. But overall, I think they're all well done. I don't know. I'm just not too big of a fan of Primarina. Maybe just because it's like a feminine design, which is fine. Like I'll probably still use her, but I don't know. It's kind of brought the average down for me. But I mean, she's Water Fairy, so it's great typing. I mean, and then we got Fire Dark and Grass Ghost, which are all new. It's all interesting types to fool around with once I do get the game. But I just had to put them in number 4 because I thought, in my opinion, there's 3 better. So, I mean, that's basically it. So let's go ahead and go on to 3. Number 3 is going to be the Kanto starters, Gen 1. This illustration was done by X Abstract Ben. Check him out at defiantart.com too, I believe. So yeah, this is a really cool piece he did. But what's so amazing about Gen 1 and why I had to put him in number 3 is that like this was the foundation. Like they didn't have anything to go off of. Every generation after Gen 1 they had something to kind of base their Pokemon off of, if that makes sense. Like Gen 1 was the foundation. They didn't have any prior work to go off of, and the designs were like they hold up to today. Of course, as technology has moved on, they have been able to like manipulate the designs, kind of define them more. Meaning, like of course in Red and Blue, like Charizard was, Charmander and Charizard look nothing like they do in Gen 6. But I mean, they changed it, of course, because of the upgraded graphics and what have you. But they couldn't change the design too much. They just kind of enhanced it, if that makes any sense. So for the most part, these designs have held tried and true for 20 years now, which is amazing. And not only have they held tried and true for 20 years, I mean, this was done without any prior work, any prior foundation, which is even more amazing. So for that reason, they are number three. Um, I didn't really take into account megas in this list because that would be unfair. Only Gen 1 and Gen 3 have megas, of course, as far as starters. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, they're all pretty solid designs, but like, you know what I mean, none of them really are. I mean, they're solid, but none of them are really like wow. They don't really wow you, if that makes any sense. Like Charizard, if you think about it, his design's pretty bland. I mean, uh, same for Blastoise and Venusaur. Their designs are pretty bland, but they're like nostalgic at this point. That's why another reason I use this illustration kind of uses their Gen 1's, not sprites, but they're like images, which is awesome. So yeah, so they're number three basically because of a design that's still amazing 20 years later, and the fact that they came up with these designs without any prior work or prior foundation to work off of, if that makes any sense. So now we're going to get down to the final two. Of course, when I reveal number two, you will know who number one is. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Number two is going to be Sinnoh. Now, these three starters, their designs, and just my fondness of them is almost unmatched. Obviously because they're number two, but like especially Infernape and Empoleon's design, they're just like amazing. Torterra's design is really nice too. Of course, it's I would say Decidueye obviously is a better design than Torterra, and then one more who's next, which of course we'll talk about next slide. But I mean, Torterra's design is pretty solid, but Empoleon and Infernape's designs are just over the top in my opinion. They're really done well. Emperor Penguin, and then Infernape's like a sage chimpanzee, or sage, like he's a monkey, but like at the same time he's like, you know what I mean, like he has like, I don't know how to describe it, like he kind of has like armor almost like on his like shoulders and knees and fists, like it's like a noble kind of look to him. So it's like, and then Infernape's just great. Like I've always liked Infernape way back in the. I used to watch the anime, of course, and then Flint's Infernape, and then when Ash fought Paul in the Elite Four, or in the Pokemon League with Infernape, and then they showed off Blaze for the first time when Infernape went crazy. That was just one of my most memorable moments in the anime. But and then of course Sinnoh was one of the most played games, one of the most hours I've put into a Pokemon game. Probably it ranks in one or two. Of course, I played all generations, but Infernape, Empoleon, and Torterra were actually leveled up to level 100 naturally, which I can't really say that for a lot of mons. So I definitely put a lot of time and effort into these mons. So I know them in and out, and have a very deep fondness for them. But that being said, I still can put them number one. Their designs are really nice. They're viable. They're very viable. Of course, Empoleon and Infernape are both UU. I think Torterra is PU, but it is grass and ground. So I mean, can't really do much there. But yeah. Infernape was definitely like one of my favorite mons. But that being said, let's get down to number one. Number one, of course, is going to be Gen 3 Hoenn. Like side by side, I don't think there is a better looking or a more relevant starters than in Gen 3. Megas aside, and I'm not just saying this because of course they were the stars of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. No, like side by side, I don't think you can, like as a whole, I don't think there's three better starters or three better looking starters or anything of that nature. Like, okay, for Sceptile, you could say Decidueye is better. You could say, okay, let's say Decidueye has the edge over Sceptile. Let's just say Blaziken and Incineroar cancel each other out. Um, and then, but then Marsh Tom, in my opinion, has a better design than Primarina. So of course this is all my opinion, but I think as a whole, these three starters are the best. Like even their middle evolutions are pretty sick. I just like the. I mean, I like Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip. I like their designs as well. Of course, Sceptile. I think Sceptile was actually RU. Blaziken, of course, is Ubers because of what is it? Speed boost. And then of course Marsh Tom is UU. But I've just I don't know, something about this gen I always liked. Like I always liked these starters. I don't know. Blaziken and Infernape are like I don't think I could decide between them two. And then I definitely think Sceptile is better designed than Torterra, and cooler than Torterra. And then Marsh Tom and Empoleon would probably be a tie. So that's why I had to put them number one. If you guys disagree, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know what your list would look like. But Gen 3 is the way to go for me. We actually do have some bonus art that we're going to go through, a couple slides, just to appreciate some of these illustrations. So let's just go ahead and move on and look at some of these. So this is just a very powerful drawing of the winners Gen 3 starters. Just look how powerful, like look how Sceptile, Blaziken, and Marsh Tom look in this picture. Like it encompasses like their, I don't know, their, I can't describe it. They're kind of like ferociousness, and they're like, I don't know. It kind of, I feel like it captures their, like what they, their competitive spirits, I guess. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say, to be honest. But I mean, this is a really nicely done illustration. I wish I could read. They actually have their like a water print on the picture of their name, but I actually can't read it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's definitely a cool picture. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is just a water print or illustration, of course, of the three new Alolan starters. It's a pretty awesome picture. The Decidueye looks pretty sick, of course, and then Incineroar and Primarina. Then we just have this one. This one's pretty cool, actually. It's for Gen 1 and then Gen 7 starters, which is pretty awesome. Really nicely done there. This, it's hard. Generation 2 starters are so bad. Like it's hard to find a good picture of them. Like they're just terrible. But this picture is really nicely done. I really enjoy it. I think it's pretty cool. I think they kind of made Gen 2 starters look like a lot better than they actually are. So, but all right, let's go. I think we got a couple more slides here. I thought this one, these two were pretty cool. The one on the left is kind of like the Gen 1 starters, and kind of like this shadow design art type of thing. I don't know what the hell to consider it. And then on the right, these are by Dark Heroic. They're basically like weapon themed, like weapons themed after the Sinnoh starters. So like Napoleon's sword, Torterra axe, and then Infernape staff, which is they look like awesome as shit. Like if these were real, I don't even want to know if they're real, because if they're real, I would have a half a mind to try to purchase these. And they look like they would be very expensive. And I don't see me like being able to walk down the street with an Infernape staff and not get arrested. But that shit looks pretty awesome. That looks really cool. It's just like sick. But I think we got one more, maybe. No, maybe two. This is pretty cool. It's the Gen 1 starters and then their Mega Evolutions in the background. So that's a pretty awesome picture. And then the last one, of course, the winners and their Mega Evolutions. Would you guys say, I don't know, even a Mega Evolution, like 1 to 5? Like let's go back to Gen 1 Mega Evolutions. Yeah, I would have to say, yeah, I would have to say Gen 3 Mega Evolutions even look better. Like Blaziken, Sceptile, and Marshawn's Mega Evolutions look better than Gen 1's Mega Evolutions, in my opinion. I mean, uh, look how cool Blaziken looks, and then Marshall just looks like he's on roids, and I don't know. But I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. We're gonna be back tomorrow with day 2. Tomorrow we're going to actually rank the generations as a whole. Basically, we're going to look at each generation and look at what mons, the most notable mons they introduced to the Pokemon world, what kind of new features they brought to the table, and just different things like that. So, with today, how we compared the different generation starters, tomorrow we're going to compare just like generation to generation as a whole, what they brought to the table, how many mons, what mons, so on and so forth. So thank you guys for watching. Other than that, Juju, and I'm out. Peace.